we're glad to be on weekdays.
Right,
Let me tell you.
And you're on live on Sunday, so that's awesome. But yeah, I gave him over 100 of the Obama deceptions to give out.
How is the station liking it? Because we're on so many new AM and FMs, getting 2 or 3 a week that are new, and we're talking about all these hardcore issues, and the stations are loving it. I mean, but again, 10 years ago, it was like I was a 14-headed, goblin. But now people can see what we're covering is reality.
Absolutely. I can see the difference in the callers. They're totally waking up. It's awesome. So, yeah, I'm totally stoked about that. But I wanted to, you asked about the birds, and so I wanted to cover the 4 main points. One is to consider having Lorraine Murray on. She talks about the dramatic increase in earthquakes since HARP was put in. She also, being a whistleblower from Lawrence Livermore, knows about Gordon MacDonald, who, as you recall, was Lyndon B. Johnson's scientific advisor when Ben Livingston was doing all the monsoons. And she says he's a geophysicist that was a part of the technology to set off earthquakes and volcanoes. But
I have Secretary of Defense Cohen in 97. In fact, I've got the quote here in my stack. I'll pull it out if I can find it. I've covered it on Coast to Coast. This is real, and earthquakes are increasing, and they're behaving like they haven't behaved in the several hundred years that the scientists, the seismologists, the volcanologists, and others have been studying it. And I got Secretary of Defense Cohen in Army Times saying that our government and other governments have developed tectonic earthquake weapons, and just like they laughed at us years ago about weather modification, now it's all over the news, and they're not just spraying stuff out of airplanes. They've got these big antenna farms doing it from the U.S. to the Middle East. It's crazy. Let me get Max Keiser's take on that.
Well, what about the earthquakes that the industry is putting together on purpose? I'm referring to shale fracking, where they're going in and they're fracking the crust of the earth to get a little natural gas. I'm sure that disturbs the earth crust.
And, of course, it's a politically correct term. They don't call it cracking. They call it fracking. I mean, what a joke.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is just industry fracking and cracking the earth's crust to get a little extra cubic feet of gas to power this industrial monstrosity for a few more months. Just leave the earth's crust alone. Stop fracking.
Well, we saw that with the Deepwater Horizon, a record deep well, and I was studying in many areas of the Gulf of Mexico, as deep as they were going is how thick the crust is. They're going into the mantle.
Yeah, well, that's going to disturb the way. That's the point. If you keep, how many drill bits there are in the Gulf of Mexico? I was amazed during the BP crisis. There are thousands of these things going in there and screwing around.
Yeah, I think there's 15,000 plus in the Gulf. I mean, if you go out there fishing now, when I was a kid, you go out fishing, you hardly saw rigs. It's now just rigs everywhere. And when it's nighttime, you see even more because now the lights stand out. They're just all over the place. And you think about the butterfly effect or the lensing effect, the megaphone effect. What's the proper term?
Amplification.
Yes, the amplification effect. There you go. Thank you, Max. Of all of this, it's probably untold what it's doing. Lucretia?
Well, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the show. This is a year when Mother Nature finally says, go to hell.
How do we know the globalists aren't launching a lot of these weather attacks themselves and then saying, oh, look at the weather, let us have our carbon taxes, buy Al Gore and other beachfront property because the water's rising?
Well, because you have to have some sensitivity as an earthbound human being to what's happening with Mother Earth. Just listen to your own body and your own soul cry as you watch Earth crumble because it's being fracked to death and polluted to death.
Well, I'll say this.
I don't doubt that the global. Who are the globalists? They're corporations. We're talking about the same thing. They're just destroying the resources to get the last penny of resource out because they're crazy. They're suicidal. Who wrote the best book on this is Dr. Seuss. He wrote a book called The Lorax.
Yeah, and the last Lorax gets cut down, yeah.
Yeah, read Dr. Seuss's The Lorax, and you understand what the current situation is. If you can't understand a Dr. Seuss book, then heaven help you.
Dr. Al-Qaeda Seuss? He criticizes the government. I don't like him. Lucretia, great job. Thanks for helping us get on that station. That's how we're getting on all these great stations. And the stations are having big success with it and reaching more people, and we love it. Rashid in New York, thanks for holding for eons. You're on the air with the one, the only, Max Keiser.
How you doing, Alex? First-time caller. How you doing, Max?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to know what you actually think about the Carlyle Group purchasing a major supplement company called MBTY for $3.2 billion.
Well, I've got a comment. That's an inside operation. They know that supplements, they know that agriculture, metals, commodities, energy is going to be the future as paper currencies and other forms of paper are exposed as being fraud-ridden instruments, but also this is all about inside baseball. Just like the Obama crime syndicate has given over 500 waivers to select campaign contributors, companies, McDonald's and others, where they don't have to get insurance for their employees. Or if you gave the Democrats, you get to keep your Chevy dealership. This is big city Chicago mafia merged with the Fuhrer precept unitary executive of Bushy. What a monster amalgamation that is. And so you're going to only have select insiders who are allowed in the future under Codex Alimentarius, that, by the way, is in the House and Senate bill. The Food Safety Act admits they selectively get to shut down who they want. That's the essence of insider baseball. Comments on that, on what Rashid's asking there, Max?
Well, we're talking about a food supplement company. And it's part and parcel with this idea of unnatural synthetic food as replacing natural food. You know, as you talk about on your show all the time, that they're cracking down on people growing their own food. People are not allowed to, the price of natural organic food is beyond the reach of most people. So a company like this that produces food supplements, the price is going to continue to go up as people are going to be shut out from access to wholesome, whole food. So this is part of that prison mentality. You know, it's basically prison gruel, and this is what they're going to be serving the poor prisoners in the casino gulag.
Yeah, and you're talking about a general spectrum. I don't know about Carlyle, very wicked company, buying the company you mentioned. I've never heard of it. They may just be angel cakes, and so they got bought because they have a good product. I don't know. I'm just generally looking at who financed the food safety bill. It has nothing to do with food safety and is Codex Alimentarius. And for years, we'd fight this. We'd have the official UN documents, Europe trying to pass it, basically where you can't get raw vitamins over the counter. You've got to get them all adulterated and patented and reformulated by Big Pharma. And it's Big Pharma, big genetic engineering, mixed with the military-industrial complex and the big banks, and it's all just a predatory, weaponized, cancerous takeover paradigm. Rashid, anything else from New York?
Just a prediction for 2011. A lot of the colleges is probably going to close down in a sense. They're going to close their doors because I guess a lot of people are realizing that there are no jobs here and degrees are basically worthless.
Well, I mean, unless it's something like being a doctor or an engineer where you've really got to have the technicals, I feel so sorry for folks that go and get, philosophy degrees and things. I mean, I don't know. I know so many engineers that are literally working at Walmart now, but then 17-year-old kids that actually know how to get stuff done on the internet, they're getting paid a lot of money. I mean, it just shows that with the acceleration of knowledge, what colleges are teaching on average is 5-10 years old. I mean, when I went and took RTF, they were literally were teaching me nothing. It was like 50-year-old baloney about the media system. I just went out and found a crack in the media and jammed myself into it, and here we are. Look, shoe leather, ladies and gentlemen, and brains and action and taking action. That's how you get things done. I appreciate your call, Rashid. And yes, the big education bubble, we've been talking about that for years. Max Keiser, your take on that?
Well, yeah, I think it's an interesting reflection of what's going on in the rest of the economy, because education is becoming a have-nots and have-yachts. So, the price of an Ivy League education is going up, and of course the people who can afford to go to those schools are financed the children of the bankers on Wall Street.
And that's really, and Max, as you know, that's really only about getting in with the in crowd, so that even if you're not from the elite family, maybe you can be a secretary making $1 million a year, and they do on Wall Street, because you dated the captain of the football team at Harvard or Yale. I mean, it's all about being part of the white shoe boys.
Well, and they teach you, in economics, they teach you the neoliberal school of economics, the Chicago school, the Obama, he's a graduate of that school of economics, the Milton Friedman school. And this school, the Ben Bernanke is also a graduate of this school. It teaches you to look at the economy and only see deflation, and your response is always to pump more money, which, of course, makes the asset prices of the people who feathered your education by endowing the colleges that you went to in the Ivy League rich because their asset prices go up. But the people who are now deprived of an education are getting bankrupted because the food and energy that they have to spend 20 or 30 or 40% of their after-tax income on to survive is going up along with those asset prices, so they're bankrupted. So it's an education system that bankrupts the lower classes and enriches the higher classes by making the cost of an Ivy League school that much higher, and by making the access to all education totally indebted and privatized like the prison industry.
And then that creates a race to the bottom, and they're already prepositioning for that in armored government and corporate redoubts, where the rest of us are basically just hunted down by their hunter-killer drones. That's not the Terminator movie. That's their actual plan with a drone-operated Skynet. I mean, these people are completely out of control. They talk about...
Plus, when you come out of college, you have these debts you have to pay off, and they're offering jobs as a TSA agent down at the airport at a salary that can help you pay off your debt. All you've got to do is you're going to take whatever job you can get. Jobs that you really want to get, maybe as a teacher or something that has more societal benefits to it, you can't take. You got to take only the jobs.
Yeah, Max, I'm interrupting you.
In prison. I'm
interrupting you because your cell phone is in a watery position. The cell phone's better than landlines from some reason from Paris to Austin, Texas. Or I guess this call's going through Austin, Texas.
All right, so how's that?
No. Now it sounds crystal clear. Repeat what you just said.
Okay, so when you graduate from college, you got debt. And therefore...
Nope, it's doing it again. It's driving me insane. Are you using a hands-free, Max?
Yeah. I'm using the cell phone. I can give you my... I was trying to find it. I don't know what to do.
No, you're using you're maxing out. You're using a hands-free plugged into the cell phone, aren't you?
No, I'm just using the cell phone. That's it. But the sound is bad.
We're just going to, Max, we're going to reconnect with you right now, okay? We're going to call you right back. We'll see if we lose him like last week, but hopefully we're going to get this done and go into overdrive. Stay with us. We're going to call Max right back because, well, I don't have to tell you the problem. You hear it. It sounds like we're talking to him from the bottom of a swimming pool. Let's go ahead and take another call. I hope Angelo can just talk to little old me because we're getting Max back on, or I can relay a question to Max. Angelo in Colorado, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Alex?
Good, sir. Your phone sounds good. Go ahead.
Hey, Judd, I just wanted to let you know, first of all, that when I was in high school and first for a few years in college, sorry, I'm kind of nervous a little bit, but when I was studied journalism, and I really got into that. I wrote for my high school newspaper, was a lead writer for them, traveled the country a little bit, but I got out of it because I was kind of sick of the bias. So I'd like to get back into that, and if you're ever in a time crunch or if you need an article written, my services are definitely at your disposal.
Well, my problem is we're just a small organization. I've got people that understand the New World Order, and then they just write articles, and usually I don't even review them. Occasionally I'll just tell them, there's a typo here. Because we're all moving so quick. But I would suggest you just start your own website, your own blog, start doing YouTube videos, go buy a $200 video camera if that's all you can afford, and start shooting video reports and using free video editing programs. I mean, that's what I did. I would go out and shoot on like a $200 or less camera, VHS camera. I'd have to edit it on 3/4-inch ancient 1970s equipment. They had at Access TV. Later they got new equipment, but I already knew how to use the old